Hi there, today's video is talking to you about the challenges of pacing. So you may have seen many videos from myself around pacing, and hopefully the narrative behind that is that pacing is very unique to you. It's about finding your version of pacing, and it's also the fact that pacing is quite hard. It is quite a challenge because it can actually come back to influencing or encouraging behavioral change, which is quite difficult as human beings. And for some people, that's significant behavior change, depending on the person and depending on the reasons behind that too. But it's really important to acknowledge that pacing is a challenge. And a lot of the time here at the clinic, we'll hear things like, I can't pace because of work, because of school, uni, kids, whatever it might be. And absolutely, those are considerable factors and things that we do need to keep in mind when it does come to pacing. They do mean that it's difficult to influence pacing or even things like structured or supportive recharge or restorative activities. One of the biggest conversations we have around that is that it's not an all or nothing approach. Something is better than nothing. And slowly dipping your toe into pacing is finding the best version of that for you and the most accessible version of that for you, because there's no point you completely changing your life for 2 weeks, pacing for 2 weeks, and then hoping that everything will be different. Pacing is very much a lifestyle and a behavioral component that we do need to look at. So it doesn't have to be all day, every day to begin with. It's about finding those smaller opportunities where you can pace and looking at what that looks like to you, what pacing means to you, and how that is accessible. So you might have a period of the week where pacing is maybe a little bit more of an option, where your week is maybe a little bit less structured. So, that might be a Saturday morning or whatever it might be. But it's about finding that window of opportunity and looking at utilizing that period of time to find any access and options of pacing. And that could be just practicing good quality of restorative activities, such as rest, depending on the person and their needs. Or that could be setting up a little bit of a structure and an intention of pacing for that period of time and actually getting really good at that. Playing around with that, figuring out what it looks like, figuring out what part of that you like, what part of that is a challenge, and how you can use that to implement pacing elsewhere. So it means that you have a period of time that pacing is maybe more accessible, period of time to practice pacing, master pacing, to then look at where it fits elsewhere. And with small, consistent change, that can help over a period of time. It's not about these big, drastic changes. If you could have made them, you probably already would have. It's about those small changes that are more accessible, that actually meet you where you are. And one of the biggest things I like to tell people is that pacing should consider who you are as a person, your personality, your circumstances, your life, your triggers, your restorative practices, and finding your version of pacing within all of that. So know that you are not alone in your challenges behind pacing. It is okay if you're finding that difficult. Doesn't mean that you can't pace or that you won't ever pace, but it is about finding your version. There are plenty of other videos related to pacing, so feel free to check out our YouTube channel related to all of those, and there's lots about pacing on our YouTube. If you have any questions, do feel free to reach out. Bye.